Hola, hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a Carpool con Chingones. El día de hoy tengo a un chingón muy especial, Edwin Ortiz, que es productor y educador. Bienvenido, Edwin.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Vamos a hacer esta entrevista en Spanglish, un poquito de español, un poquito de inglés. Aquí lo más importante, que nos expliques quién eres, a qué te dedicas y todas las cosas en que nos puedes dar un poco más de información, más en el lado de productivo y de producción, perdón, en el desarrollo de videos y de tu, ¿qué eres your expertise? We want to know what's your expertise.
Sí, yo voy a tratar de hablar en español as best as I can, pero sí, let's do it.
Okay. ¿Tus papás son mexicanos?
Mi papá es puertorriqueño, mi mamá es mexicana de Guadalajara, México.
Ok, muy bien. ¿A qué te dedicas?
¿Qué es eso?
What do you do for a living?
So, yo soy un productor y en un educator.
¿Educador?
Sí, eso. Yo trabajo con la Media Arts Center San Diego enseñando estudiantes cómo hacer filmmaking.
¿Y por qué o por qué inicia este hobby, este gusto de estar en film? What sparks you in film?
Yo, empezó con music videos. Yo encanta música, pero me encanta las visuals. Porque because of that, that's what made me want to do film content. Pero en tiempo, introduced to movies y documentaries con sports, it just es una expresión para yo puedo express myself también en ese platform. So, yo no sé, it's just I just love it. Yo no sé cómo, yo no sé cómo yo puedo explicar. I need to warm up my tongue. Pero yeah, you don't say, you don't puedo explain it. I love it. Me encanta todo the process, the equipo, the collaboration, and it's a very collaborative effort. So it's beautiful to see when everybody contributes to the project, and this is the result.
So you have an education. Can you tell us about your educational background, please?
Yo fui a USC para mi undergrad y este verano, no es verano, fall es
¿Invierno?
invierno. Este invierno de 2025 yo voy a San Diego State para mi master's. Para yo puedo, my goal is to teach at a university level as well. And so, yeah, those are my degrees. And I'm with Southwestern College. If we had Southwestern College, so I transferred to USC. So, shout out Jaguars.
¿Por qué es importante para ti el filmmaking? Ser productor, ¿por qué es bien importante para ti?
Well, for one, it empezó con un passion, right? Empezó con la artsy, but today, con the world with media, I think it's very important to have that skill, how to release content, how to strategize and create content. It's a very powerful tool now. So.
Can you tell me a little bit about the film that you just did, that you posted?
Oh, Fuego?
Yeah.
Yeah, Fuego. So, yo hice un película corto, se llama Fuego. Es una historia de discovering a passion. The short. So when I created that short, there was a lot of motivation behind that short. For one, In the Heights came out in 2021, and I felt like I could have directed that movie if I had something to show for it. And so I needed to create something that could show that. But at the same time, I was trying to push my siblings to pursue their passions, and they don't think they could. They don't think they could achieve what I could achieve, and that even though I believe they could, they don't think they could. And so there was a lot with the story or a lot with my feelings. Like, you know what? Knowing they're gonna watch this film, let me create something that they're gonna watch and hopefully reflect on their own lives and maybe pursue their passions or take that leap. And making it a salsa film was a cultural tribute to my late father, his passion for salsa. So those elements became Fuego, the short. And once that released, that went through film festival routes, New York Latino Film Festival, San Diego Latino Film Festival, and more. I saw within that year, I discovered a new passion. I salsa dance now too, so I salsa dance. And so I saw the potential in that being a movie. So then the past 2 years I developed research and wrote a screenplay, a feature film based on the short. And the feature, what makes it different is it's more drama and comedy, and the theme, the Fuego, the title of the film is the theme of the movie. It's about what's those desires in your life that's gonna fuel your inner fire. That's what the movie version is about that I wrote.
Wow, so you used filmmaking as a mentor, a tool, guide for your siblings to watch and be inspired?
It started with the short. Now for the bigger picture, like I use it, yes, as a way to connect with people and to inspire them, to ignite their inner fire. That's yes.
Wow, see, that's great. And what are you currently working on, or where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you want to do?
Oh man, you know what? There's a lot. I'm very ambitious. Yo soy muy
ambicioso.
Soy un empresario. So I know that I love. So in 5 years, okay. So I imagine I will still be developing narrative content. Oh, actually, not just narrative, but also documentary. Just creating content in general under a studio. At the same time, developing programs in education continuing to develop curriculums and being able to scale and hire staff and train staff to learn how to teach students as well. That's kind of the bigger vision as well. So,
do you think our community is lacking that?
Oh yes,
teaching?
From my personal experience, coming from Barrio Logan and coming from an underserved community where education was more of a luxury, I felt like just in general, from underserved communities, they lack that educational support. They're not aware of resources, and even today with students that I work with and mentor at risk youth, they have a cell phone and yet they still can't research how to start a business, or they don't have that guidance or that mentors, or they don't so it's important in the education system that to understand students, to understand their needs, and when they do, they're able to teach, they're able to connect and teach them through their passions versus like teaching them something they feel like they're never going to use, and it makes a huge difference. So I use filmmaking as a way to connect, allow students to be creative, but when I don't have the answer for something, I show them how to research it. I show them how quickly, let's ask that question. Just that simple, seeing how I find an answer quickly is just only the beginning to having them start to research how to go to get a career at NASA, or how to start a business, or how to work here. It's simply just learning how to research. That's what I try to show students.
And where do you see that as an entrepreneur, how can you help, or what does a entrepreneur need for their business in creating videos for their business? I mean, I know it's evolved and it's come a long way as using promotional videos for our businesses as entrepreneurs. Do you see that, or what recommendations would you give a entrepreneur?
It varies on the aesthetic. Sometimes people want it to look like a movie, then that's maybe when I'll come in.
Okay.
But if people just need consistent content to market something, like I do it with my cell phone. I'll just create with your cell phone. Like today, our cell phones, like they have cinematic quality. Like you could set it to cinematic mode and just create. Like we were just talking about, like not waiting for content to be perfect. Like our videos are good. Today they're good. They're not choppy. They're not pixelated if we upload it to YouTube. Like you get it in 4K quality, but do you really need 8K quality next, for your content? No, it's like 1080 is good.
As long as the content is good,
yeah,
right?
as long as you can see, as long as you can see eyes and they're not pixelated, like yeah.
You did a documentary that really caught my attention. Again, is a documentary for everyone, or is it just? I mean, it was a boxer. I watched it, but can your average person have a documentary, or what is documentaries specifically for?
Yeah, so documentaries, anybody could do a documentary. A lot of that is actually the current service that keeps me busy is documentary filmmaking, because it's telling a story through it's telling this, depending on the brand or depending on the business, right? So the documentary you're mentioning for the brand What's Your Hustle, shout out to Johnny De La Cruz, another USC alum that I met him at USC. For his brand, it was about why you do what you do. So the people he would interview, whether he has an entrepreneur in this docuseries on Tubi, he did two boxers, and he did he did an actor out of San Diego, and he did this entrepreneur out of New York City. So we set out to interview these people and just get to know them. Why do they do what they do? What's their motivation behind it? And so that's a brand that hired me to create a docuseries. But my style, I was very influenced by my favorite documentaries growing up, which was HBO's 24/7. So when I watched Miguel Cotto getting ready to box, they would have a docuseries. Yes. And so that made me invested, just learning about the person, their routine, their and the narration and the musicality and style. It was very stylized, and I never forgot that just growing up, and that stuck with me. When a brand needs a documentary, here I am. That's the first thing that comes to mind. It's like, oh man, I want this to feel like that, except with my music video background. How do I bring out more of the aesthetics, the visuals, to give it that feel? But we're still learning about the subject. We're still seeing how flashy and cool this person looks with, but there's a story to be told. There's a story of where he comes from, his desire to be a champion, coming from an underserved community as well, coming from nothing and becoming something. It was an underdog story that was exciting to tell, and the brand represents that. So the documentary that we planned for that was that. But there's other companies that sometimes they need a documentary just showing what the business is about, who's the founders, and my job's to show, not tell. Show them in their daily lives. Show them in action. Versus we could talk, but when we see people doing things, we will have our own questions, our own perceptions. So documentary becomes a very powerful tool when it's strategized that way.
Yes, because it created a story and it kept me engaged. That's what I took from it. And I mean, again, that would be something that you could put on your website so that your customers could really get to feel and get to know the person a little more in depth. What advantages do you have because you're Mexican American and you're bilingual in your business, or how does that show up with your?
You know what? It's interesting because I grew up as a Puerto Rican in a very Chicano Mexican neighborhood. So I very influenced by my father's music and culture, but I mean I prefer Mexican food and all. Like I prefer Mexican food, and like I live out here in San Diego, so the culture of and I just grew up around. I feel like I'm seasoned Puerto Rican and Mexican. Like
Okay.
it's hard to explain. Like it's like okay, like I know I love my salsa and I love my reggaeton, and
Okay.
I'm influenced by New York. Like it's culturally, that's my dad's father's sports, right? But then like in San Diego, it's like we have the best. We have amazing Mexican food. We have amazing people down here, and and then being born here, it does bring that perspective because I have family in Puerto Rico. I have family in Guadalajara, Mexico. So I see the hospitality and how much of a difference it is down there. So being able to just being very cultured, being cultural overall does bring an advantage to anyone who's able to experience and relate and just make people feel united, whether it's through food, through sports, through culture. It's a beautiful thing when you're cultured.
¿Están en tus planes para hacer videos o contenido en español?
Sí, es mi plan es para estudiar más español y que me ayuda a hablar más español cuando me escuchan más bachata y salsa, y me encanta leer las letras de la música.
Okay.
Es que me ayuda, pero I think es como un carro. I have to warm up the engine. I have to warm up my tongue. I have to warm up the engine, because then I fumble my words. And right now we didn't have our coffee yet, so forgive me.
Yo noto que también tienes, cuando estuvimos hablando anteriormente, que tienes una pasión de verdaderamente y sinceramente ayudar a la comunidad. ¿Por qué te nace de querer ayudar a la comunidad, the underrepresented, ¿por qué te gusta mucho?
Really quick, yes. So I'm going to do content in Spanish because I would love to work. I would love to work. I would love to go as south as I could. I would love to just go to Mexico, South America. I would just love to travel and create content, and so it's very important for me to practice Spanish, and I know I can to learn it, speak it fluently, and I know I can. It's just a matter of being consistent. To answer your other question, my desire to help underrepresented communities just comes from my experience. Comes from like setting myself with the right mentors and learning the importance of having the right people in your life could make a huge difference. And when I see the students that I work with, and I just see a mirror, like, wow, these students don't have that support. They don't have, these communities don't have that kind of that support or someone they could look up to and admire and be like, oh wow, like this person did it that way, I could do that too. They don't have a lot of people they can relate to, and it's kind of the first thing that I notice. If they don't feel like they can relate to that person, there's no connection yet. But the minute there's like, oh wow, you came from Barrio Logan, oh wow, your background, and you didn't you didn't have a good start in school, but yet you ended up being able to change your life around, get into USC, and go pursue your master's and beyond. Like, so when they see it and they know it, and just being available, it really sets up the community that way, because then they see it, they see the results, it's up to them to take action. But it starts with being involved in community and it just kind of working with these students is a reminder that this is still a consistent problem, even since my youth. Like, oh wow, like you would think things would get better for communities with technology and more access to our, to information online. No, it still feels the same, and it's kind of shocking because, I mean, I grew up. I'm 39, so I grew up in a time where I didn't, you couldn't. This was a luxury to have a cell phone,
Right.
and so I mean, I felt like I was just only limited to what I was learning, and in my definition of learning was what my definition of learning was what you could retain in that hour with that teacher. There was no. My mom was busy being a custodian and working, and when she comes home, she's tired. She doesn't want to, she doesn't have energy to help us. And her not finishing high school, our homework was hard for her. So it's like so and so she's not aware of resources. She doesn't know how to. She's scared to drive. So she's very limited to what the community is able to give her. But if the community is not involved in education or aware of support or resources, it's like you're kind of stuck, so today with cell phones and being able to work with students young, it's like they're able to research and they're able to planting the seeds pretty early for them to start thinking about their lives and their futures versus like not knowing what they're going to do next. So that's me working with youth. It's my passion just because it's what I'm doing already, but eventually I see myself working with adults as well. It's not just kids or teenagers, but it's where I just kind of got recruited into, and it's kind of where I'm starting and growing. But I see myself doing more community events and helping. Eventually, well, it starts with my artist community here, but eventually I see myself helping other entrepreneurs as well.
How does AI change the game for the film industry?
It changes in many ways, but with AI, it's only as smart as the person's expertise. So because I started using AI because it was a tool San Diego State gave, and I was kind of trying to see like, okay, I spent 2 years writing the screenplay. Let's see if this is able to create, just give it some prompts. Let me see if it's able to create the story I created, or but it didn't. It created something completely different and very. It followed my directions on like I would just feed it little by little, but it wasn't. It still has its flaws, even when. So to stay in the question with entertainment, it's a very powerful tool when you know how to. When there's things that takes you a while, you could use it to speed up your process. Especially for screenwriting. Like I'm a very careful, slow writer. Like I like to craft. But now this is able to craft something up for me, and now I have to proofread it. I have to see if I like the way it's pitching. I was like, I don't like the way this pitch is framed. I don't, so I still have to correct it. But for the most part, it's a very collaborative tool. I'll say that much.
Okay, so it won't make me a telenovela. It won't make me a telenovela.
I wouldn't trust it with the dialogue. Okay. I would not trust it with the dialogue, but it could definitely give you some ideas, and then you could act it out. That's the beautiful thing, right? Like we're gonna see more AI, but like when you have good actors, there's still a physical presence that you need, right? Like so. Sure. I don't know. Well, I don't know what the future holds, but I don't. It's kind of like it's like, ugh. Like, we don't want to see like AI. I don't know about you, but I don't want to see AI actors.
Right. Well, Gary Vee talks about that there's going to be AI influencers.
Oh, okay. I could see that. I could definitely see that. See, I'm like, I barely watch influencers now, and I
Okay.
could, no, no disrespect to the influencers, but I could definitely see that. Wow. And it wouldn't affect me, but but as man, but as someone in entertainment and actors, like, people who want to watch a movie, but even with technology, like I could see why people want to put themselves in a movie, so I like, that's pretty cool, the idea, but we'll see. It's a very I mean, we could, it's only in time we'll find out.
Who's your favorite director and why?
My favorite director. Okay, that's like saying what's your favorite movie or your favorite song.
Or if you have a few.
Let's see. Oh man. Okay. Like I think my favorite directors are based on my favorite movies. Mi favorito. I try to bring it to Spanish. But
Okay.
We'll put it subtitle.
Okay.
We'll put subtitles. My favorite director. I'm gonna say the first person that comes to mind, just because I like his stories. I like his films. I like Damien Chazelle, the director of Whiplash and La La Land. He has a jazz background and screenwriter, and he created films based off around his passions and what he knows, right? So he brought jazz back. It's not that he brought it back, but he brought it into mainstream storytelling because of because of him. But those movies, I just remember thinking to myself, like, wow, like, what would the salsa versions of these films look like? So thanks to him is what, like, kind of kicked off new ideas or new inspirations for me. And so I was like, oh wow, people dance, like cool, he brought jazz. People aren't really dancing jazz like that, but it's still a great film to watch. But what would the salsa version look like? People dance salsa all the time. That's Latin jazz. And those seeds stayed in my head since. And here I am creating that film, or exploring that. So.
Wow. So you want to put a Latino twist on it?
Yeah, that's my goal. Yeah, that's my goal, to tell more authentic Latino stories, more stories to show us as regular people versus, like stereotypes. So Hollywood could stick with that, but for me, it's like I can't contribute to that. I have to find ways and make, every Latino role feel like it's human, because we are.
Sure. What tips would you give someone that's starting their filmmaking or creating content? What tips can you give us? And I include myself, because I've been doing this a little bit over 2 years, but I'm always open, especially with someone that, the education that you have, the experience that you have. What tips would you give someone starting out with content? Create with what, it's the best. It's advice I didn't take when I started. Okay. But actually, I did. I just went a little bit bigger, even though I learned from it. And my bigger was just like using multiple cameras, different, and learning from a mess that I created. But create. Just don't. Like, you just can't wait for it to be perfect. Just create. You learn from it. You build from it. It's the same thing with entrepreneurs, right? Like, you gotta build something, and you gotta measure by the success of it. You gotta learn to pivot. You gotta, like, okay, I didn't like the way this went. Let me go this direction. Let me try these people. It's the same thing with creating content. You just have to create. Like I've been working with some people who, professional actors who now just kind of just use their cell phones, and it looks amazing. Like, people have access to tools, to lavaliers, lavaliers are the little microphones that you could just buy and connect. Yes,
you have access to lavaliers that are cheap. People have cell phones. You have ways of editing, like whether my favorite tool to share or teach my students is DaVinci Resolve. It's a professional editing software that's free to download onto your desktop, and I teach my students that all the time.
What was that?
DaVinci Resolve.
Okay.
Versus, or you could, if people really just want to edit on their phone, I guess use CapCut. But I think you're limited to certain features with on editing on your phone. But if you have a desktop or a laptop, you can download DaVinci Resolve right now, professional editing software for free, and edit content like really detailed. I edit music videos with that and documentaries with that too. So DaVinci Resolve is it's a very industry standard tool.
Do you recommend sourcing out your editing as a content creator, or do you think that we should learn how to edit our own videos?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, it varies. I think, so there are times where people just need editing, or sometimes I have time and I don't have, when you master your time, you're able to determine whether you want to take the extra job, right? So sometimes when I'm hired to, when you say outsource, like offer my services as an editor, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or outsource your video and have someone else do the editing for you.
So with editing, like sometimes when I get hired to do a music video, for example, right? Typically, I would usually love to hire an editor so I could focus on the next project. But if I don't have another project lined up, and I'm a sucker for music videos, so like sometimes I want to edit the music video, versus like a documentary or narrative film. I let my editors edit. Okay. So I rather hire them to do it just because there's no. Everybody's an art. Editors are artists too, so they have vision. But for music videos, I think because of my dance background and my musicality, there's a certain feeling of dance that I bring to music videos. Okay. And so that's why I kind of like. So if the edit doesn't feel like it's a rhythm, doesn't feel like there's, if it doesn't feel like there's dancing to it, it's like it's hard for me to trust an editor. Because some of the editors, shout out to my editors that I love. Some, they don't have dance backgrounds. They don't. Okay. So sometimes our musicality, our hits are different, and I can see it. So it's hard for me to sometimes trust non-dance music editors who aren't dancers. But no, I like to. I mean, I outsource when I can, or if I'm truly available. For the most part, I love to hire editors or to manage, so I can continue to create and build. So if there's someone that you, again, I just want to change back real quick before I forget. I'm going to put all your social media contacts on this video. We'll be uploading, and so if anyone wants to get a hold of you, we'll be able to put all that information for you there. But at the end of the interviews, I always like to ask, because again, it's about helping one another, promoting other businesses, promoting other entrepreneurs, or promoting, in fact, you're my first productor that I have here on Carpool con Chingones, so I was really excited. Am I the first that wasn't speaking in Spanish? No, we've had bilingual, we've had Spanish, and so un poquito de todo. But again, is there a chingon or chingona that you would like to nominate that I would be honored to interview, that we could support and give them, the spotlight that we're having you on here today? David Zamuya. Okay. Do you know who that is? David Zamuya. It sounds familiar. He sounds familiar. David Zamuya of the Cafecito Business Network. Yes. I know him. He's a dear friend networking. In fact, he's been doing a lot of cycling lately. Yeah, like he knows all the entrepreneurs. Okay. I feel like in the Latino community. So he's him or JC Juan Carlos. Okay. Juan Carlos. Those two for sure. They serve as mentors in my life too. Awesome. Absolutely. I'm going to reach out to them. Again, quiero agradecer tu tiempo, la conversación que tuvimos el día de hoy. Muchísimas gracias, y gracias por todo el apoyo que tú haces con nuestra comunidad, con los jóvenes que necesitan un mentor y que les abre las puertas a estas oportunidades que quizás no les toque, y que tú los estás guiando y los estás enseñando que hay más posibilidades y más oportunidades para que ellos puedan seguir sus sueños. Muchas gracias. Y yo no puedo, I can't wait para hablar más español next year. In the next episode, yo voy a hablar más español, yo voy a practicar yeah. Sí.
Claro que
Dices,
sí. Entonces te vuelvo a invitar y para la próxima hacemos esta entrevista totalmente en español. ¿Qué te parece?
Sí, vamos a hacerlo.
Ok, muchas gracias, Edwin. Gracias a todos. Adiós.